This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Vaesen role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is Borrowed Freedom. It was written by Matthew Sanderson, who is also our game master, and this is episode 2. Our recap will be given by Max Meltzer as his character, Franz Almklint. So, without any further delays, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Max?
Thank you, Thom. I awoke on the first day of spring and decided to spend the morning with some light exercise of my trigger finger, when suddenly in burst the little mail boy with a letter for us from Detective Ekstrom of Eslov. Apparently, they had a series of mysterious murders on their hands and were at wit's end as to their solution. Immediately, we sprung into action, and Valentina, cunning as always in the occult arts, was able to call forth the spirit of one of the victims to a closed upper room in the castle. What we heard from his blue lips disturbed us all, even the stout Henrik. Apparently, the man had been having a series of bad dreams before his death. I made the connection with the horse tracks mentioned near the scene of the crime by Detective Ekstrom and guessed it might have been a nightmare. The origin of this spirit appears to have been a brutal assault on an unconscious woman by 4 men, including, we presume, the 2 murder victims. Upon further investigation of the Vaesen, we discovered that its origin is a certain occult ritual performed to ease pain during childbirth. The child would then harbor a spirit within them, which would awaken eventually. We made haste to Eslov, and upon our arrival, shared our conclusions with the detective. It seemed we will count at least 2 more victims before our time is up here in Eslov. With God's grace, we will ease this restless spirit and bring the justice of man, not the supernatural, to those who have committed so heinous a crime.
Indeed, thank you very much there. So it sounds like you're going to just put your feet up for a few days, wait for a couple of bodies to pile up, and then get to work. So good moral judgments there. Always erring on the side of righteousness here. All right, we'll begin with a map. I think is a good way to start. As you are going into flying, you're coming in from the northwest from Eslov. Coming in via carriage laid on for you by the detective. And as you can see, the area is pretty much divided half and half. The village itself is almost as big as the stud farm. So the stud farm resides to the south of the main road that goes from the northwest down towards the southeast. And pretty much everything is on that main road. You've got the Silver Spur Inn, where the coach will deposit you to begin with. Or unless you want, there's anywhere specific you want to go, either beforehand or after there if you want to drop bags off. But everything is huddled around that main road, with then just adjoining roads going off it, going to more residential areas, and also the surrounding farms, like the dairy farm that Mr. Brandt owned. That's on there. And then everything that's to the south of it is pretty much the Kungsgard, the stud farm, its royal charter. So the town or the village is pretty much yours. Where do you want to go first?
As tempting as the stud farm is, I was thinking that the Silver Spur bar might be a good place there. I believe Lundberg owns the Silver Spur bar. Is that correct? It's the note I had.
Yep, Stefan Lundberg.
Stefan. Okay.
You should be we should all be careful because any one of the older people could be a suspect.
Mhm. But since we're going to be here for a few days, it sounds like we should probably find accommodations at the Silver Spur and then strike out from there.
Do I remember correctly that tonight's the next fourth night that we're expecting a body
It
tonight?
is,
Okay.
yes. Yeah.
So if the same pattern has held, someone would have been having bad dreams over the nights of the 15th, 16th, 17th, and now the 18th would be the fourth night when they would, in theory, drop down dead.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Silver Spur would be a great starting point because possibly somebody who's been having bad dreams is trying to drown those out.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Well, there was, if I remember right, the detective had given you the journal from the carpenter, Fred Olander, and he'd mentioned there's a reference in there about there being a bottle, and the bottle that had been found, the detective can fill you in on, there was a half-drunk bottle of aquavit that was found next to the bed. So yeah, definitely, seems like someone tried to drown their sorrow, to drown their dreams, and it didn't work too well for them. But oh well.
Mhm.
But you can pull up. You can pull up in the middle of the, I was going to say car park, but in this case, carriage park, outside the front of the Silver Spur Inn. It's a fairly modest establishment. It's been there for quite a while, you think, because this area dates way back into the Middle Ages. It's reference to the stud farm, I believe, goes back to the 12th or 13th century, so the village is about comparable with that. The building you see here is at least a couple of hundred years old. Has been taken care of fairly well, so it's probably one of the key businesses in town. So it's probably a good social hub here. Outside, though, there is something that Franz would probably everyone here would recognise, but Franz probably has a bit more insight into exactly what it is. There is a coach there that's liveried up in blue and gold, with a crest on one side that looks pretty regal. And for everyone else, yeah, it definitely has something about royalty attached to it. This is a fairly posh head coach. But Franz, being someone who is of a military persuasion, would recognise it's actually the crest of the Royal Mounted Guard. So this is a very particular part of the military that's stained with the protection of the service and protection of the royal family.
Oh.
Well, it looks like our presence has been graced. Let's make sure we keep Helena away from them.
I'll be good. I'll be good.
Mhm. Well, let's go on in. Oh,
You can see there's a couple of bags or a couple of trunks still left on top of it, but the door to the inn is open, and you can hear already from the inside a very officious, very very pompous sounding male voice that is ordering someone else around by saying, "Oh, you promised us that we would have all the rooms we want, and we want the entirety of the top floor booked out, damn it. I've got people here that need to have their own space. I've got equipment that needs to be put aside." And he just continues to berate this poor guy. And as you emerge or come into the it's a divide, really. It's a confluence of half of the building on the ground floor is the inn. Then there's another half which is divided up into a little bit of a kitchen area, but also the kind of dining area as well for the people that are staying in the inn upstairs. And the midway between them is this little desk that's set up by the door with a flight of stairs leading behind it. They then go upstairs to where presumably the residential rooms are found there. And this poor guy who's, I think he's again probably in his late 40s or early 50s, that's wearing fairly ordinary working clothes and an apron that looks like he's been preparing stuff in the kitchen before having to come out here, being berated by this guy in full dress military uniform, enough medals on his front that it could probably provide him with a layer of armor, and an ego that's crushing the very air out of the room, or pushing the very air out of the room around him. That's turning a very magenta shade as he is pointing his finger, kind of stabbing it into the guy's chest in front of him and saying, "You promised us this, and what are you going to do about it?" And you can see the poor guy's just quaking in his boots and just generally caught like a rabbit in headlights.
Do we get any gist of if do we think that the upper floor that he's talking about is the one that we've secured?
It is. Yeah.
I'll turn to the gentleman quietly and say, "Gentlemen, should we help them out and try to find different accommodations?"
I mean, it depends on who they are. Why should we be clearing ourselves out just so that they can stay here? We're
Well,
customers.
the military, they protect us, they keep us safe. Uh, they're hardworking men. I mean, there's a chapel in town. I could probably stay there.
I could probably stay with one of the military men.
Good for you, Lord Dad.
Father, you have a very idealistic view of our military, I'm afraid.
Well, they are protecting us. We must understand that. I don't say that they're saints, but they're people who are doing a hard job, a dangerous one that none of us want to do.
As are we, Father, and I think we have a right to our rooms as well.
Quite right, Valentina.
You wouldn't sacrifice your room for the very queen and king themselves?
We don't know that it is the very queen and king themselves.
Well, we could ask.
I don't care to give up my room. I can find somewhere
I would-
else to sleep.
I would not consider myself a particularly reverent individual, Mr. Almclint.
I'm in agreement.
I'll turn around. I'll walk up to the current argument, and I say, please, if you don't mind, I have one of the rooms upstairs. You are more than welcome to it. I shall find another place to stay.
Oh, the guy with the plenty of medals turns around to you, raises an eyebrow. So you had one of the rooms upstairs?
Well, we've been called in to investigate certain crimes that have taken place, but I can find accommodations elsewhere. I'm Father Victor Nystrom from Uppsala.
I didn't realize that the church had an investigative wing. What was it you've been? You moonlight with the police? What kind of crime is it you're investigating?
Well, some of us have advanced detective abilities. They're used where they can. I've always tried to assist. I, of course, also have my ecclesiastical duties, but it's why I was asked to be here. And we booked the rooms ahead of time where we didn't know that there would be any problem. But as I say, I am more than willing to allow you to take my room, and I shall go elsewhere. I look at the tavern owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see these definitely sweats kind of dripping down either side of his from his forehead. This helps alleviate some of his pain, but you're probably not familiar with the rank on him, but I'll call it by what it is for Franz's benefit at least. He's a colonel. I'm fairly sure he's a colonel. Let me double check.
I might have been convinced to offer you the same had I not seen you berate this man in public. What right do you have to berate him like that? Are you his commanding officer?
I have every right. I booked this place a month ago.
Oh, Paul. Take
Not
your
my fault,
medicine
please.
and go walk somewhere else.
He puffs himself up and tries to overbear you, and tries to intimidate you.
Okay. I will stand my ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll have an opposed roll here to see who is the more intimidating or the more imposing.
Very well.
Tarantino.
So this is your manipulation.
Manipulation is empathy combined with manipulation. So that's okay. So I got no 6s.
I got 4 1s and 2 6s. Right, so yeah, you actually are starting to feel a little bit intimidated by his presence. Maybe it's the fact he's just really up in your personal space, but yeah, he's definitely got in fact, for you, there is something about him that really, really unsettles you. You can't quite put your finger on it because this isn't something that normally happens to you with just regular people. But no, there's something about him definitely. Yeah,
excuse me, perhaps I was mistaken in speaking up. I will just await my turn around the corner.
You do that. And he just glares at you until you, waiting for you to back off.
Yeah, I'll walk outside, get myself some air.
Okay.
As I'm going to, I'll quietly say, ladies, gentlemen, we may need allies in this.
Sir, I'd be willing to give up my room to accommodate you. If you'd be willing to maybe share a drink with me this evening.
Okay, there's that kind of. This is maybe a better offer that we can work with here. Yeah, go your choice of manipulation or inspiration.
Or we'll go with inspiration.
Mhm.
Okay, so that would be 5 dice. Come on.
I can't have 2 good rolls in a row.
I got one success.
And yep, I have 0. So lots of 3s and 5s. Right now, they definitely seem a lot more receptive to that. So yeah, this colonel nods and says, "I think this is a lot more agreeable. Yeah, this is the kind of behaviour that we expect when we roll into a town. So no, I'll very much take you up on that offer, Miss or."
It's Miss, definitely. Lukonen, but you can call me Dorothea.
Oh, pleasure. Well, thank you very much then, Miss Lucan, and bows to you. We'll see you a little later on. What time would be good for yourself?
I believe in your parlance, 1900.
Yeah, 7 o'clock is fine.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see you down here for a good drink and a good maybe a little bite to eat as well.
Oh, of course. Oh, you're too kind.
Good. And at which point then he turns on his heels back to the proprietor. He says, "Well, that's settled then. Those 2 rooms have been vacated. You can get our bags now." And again, he's this. If looks could kill the poor guy, crumples under his gaze and says, "Yeah, I'll get everything upstairs immediately, sir. Yeah, sir." Probably starts lugging stuff in.
I'm used to the rum sodomy and the lash. So can I look at this guy's demeanor and see if he is applying military discipline or is he applying some sort of supernatural discipline?
Ooh, okay. That will be observation for that.
All right. Okay, I have nothing in observation. So is it just 1 or none?
You just roll the linked stat.
Oh, empathy. I see. Yeah.
He sounds so empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
No, 0 successes.
Okay. You're honestly not too sure. Given just by surface value, it would appear that it's just him being a bit of a militaristic bully. I mean, you've met plenty of them before, but if it was anything more than that, you're certainly not detecting anything. Most instances, if there was a supernatural component to it, if he had some kind of magic ability, it normally has a very vocal component, or rather a visible component. They would either have to make some kind of hand gesture, or he'd have to say something. But as far as you could tell, he did neither in that encounter. But there's still something a little
This man knows how to keep discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did we at
His
any
actions
point
speak
hear
loud
his
for him.
name?
You haven't heard his name, no. But you'd know that. Well, Franz definitely knows his rank of Overst, which is the Swedish equivalent of colonel.
And
Thanks.
have we spotted anyone coming out of the carriage or anyone with him?
He has 2 other underlings with him, or 2 other
Interesting.
subordinates, and there's 1 other person in the carriage.
And it sounds like Father Nostrum and Dr. Lukanen's rooms were enough to please him, and the rest of us can stay here, or...
Well, you have the 2 rooms that were booked out
Mhm.
upstairs. Now that both of them are relinquished, they're taking over the whole floor.
I see. Okay.
More
We've all been
room than 4
ousted.
people up there would want. Yeah.
Shall
I
we stay
didn't
here?
relinquish everyone's room, did I? Yes.
No, I relinquished the other room, so you only half of people's rooms. I released the other half.
What about Franz and Henrik, and where are they?
I think after I relinquished my bed and said I'd find elsewhere to sleep, I think I moved on from the situation. I did my part of this whole thing, and I'm kind of surveying the room, looking for, I don't know, anybody that I would read as maybe pouring it on a little thick, having a little. What time of day is it? Is it morning or?
Your meeting at the police station was 9 a.m. So by the
Okay.
time it takes you for the hour carriage ride to get here, it's probably about lunchtime. So between 12 and 1.
Okay. I'm probably looking for anybody that is possibly really into their drinks and maybe sleep deprived a little bit. So just kind of surveying the room, just, taking it all in. See if I notice anybody here that could possibly fit our, doomed to die tonight.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Your search is aided by the fact there aren't that many people in here during the day.
Yeah.
You imagine because it's a work. No, I don't make sure. I think it's a Saturday, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Saturday. That it's a weekend, but even so, there is not that many people in here. Looking around, it seems like most people here are nursing beers or nursing a mug of ale. There's no one that you could immediately point to and say that's a person that looks like they've been sleep deprived and that they've got bags under their eyes, or they've got a nervous twitch, that there's something affecting them mentally.
Okay.
Yeah, but whoever it is not here. You're fairly sure of that.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think I probably go to the bar, order myself a beer just to have in hand and, find a seat kind of in the corner of the room. Just that way I can kind of see if anybody comes in that, kind of matches what I'm looking for.
Gotcha. Yeah, so there's a barmaid there who'll quite happily provide drinks for you. There's plenty of places where you can sit down and be enough away from everyone else that you won't be in earshot, so no one will be able to overhear what you sit down and have a chat about.
Yeah.
I'm going to is the colonel done yelling at the
Yeah, he stomps on upstairs
Okay.
and leaves
All
leaves the poor proprietor to drag all the bags upstairs. So you hear
Okay.
a series of thump, 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 thump as
Mhm.
he's taking all these trunks upstairs.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Well, the barmaid was here, right?
Yes.
So I will approach her and go, hello, I'm Dr. Lukanen. It's a pleasure to meet you, of course. I was
Me?
Yes, well, it's a pleasure to meet anyone you haven't seen before. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we get to see so many people come through here, so it's part of the job, really.
Well, that's what seems like a wonderful job. But not to waste your time, I am in town. I was sent to do inspections on like and help out with midwives. I was looking for the midwife of the village, Marie, and my notes are going to fail me.
El-
Eliason?
Elias, yes, yeah,
Eliason.
yeah. You says you seem remarkably informed. Yeah, she's the head veterinary surgeon down at the stud farm. So if you head
Oh.
out of here, and she starts giving you directions, basically
Hmm.
saying go across the road and continue following the road south, you'll get to the main gates at the farm. Just ask for Marie, and they'll probably let you in.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, even though she's a veterinary surgeon, she still does. She's still got a really good bedside manner. One has done a great job with the delivery of various kids over the last what must be 5 years now that she's been handling handling births ever since her previous um, the previous surgeon that she studied under, Tekla, she passed away about 5 years back, and now Marie's taken over the reins, so to speak.
Oh, well, I mean, if she's doing a great job, then my visit will be here short. Just on a trip with the university, trying to help spread some new scientific medicine techniques with the midwives, try and cut down on infant mortality.
Oh, as which university?
The University of Stockholm.
Oh, right, right. Marie, she mentions, well, not fairly often, but I know she quite likes to brag that she went to study down in Lund.
Oh, oh. Our rivals, of course, you know.
I thought everyone was in the world of
Yeah.
academia was all singing, all happy and dancing, and all on each other's side. Yeah.
Oh, at times, but go Lucafish. That's the mascot for the Stockholm. Thank you.
Oh. Sure, yeah, she seems happy enough, and obviously we'll encourage you to buy some drinks as well.
I'm saving my drinks till the Colonel buys me some.
Uh, make sure someone else is paying. Best way forward.
Yes, sir.
So Valentina, you've come outside with me. Um, I can see the church is right there, the chapel. Uh, I think I'll go there and talk to the local priest and see if he can put me up for the evening. I assume everybody's hungry. We're probably going to have something to eat. Uh, I'll be back. I'll come back to the tavern. Um, Perhaps you can get the tavern master to tell you other places in town that have accommodations. You're still very angry and quiet and unresponsive,
Yes.
Valentina.
I'm sorry. Were you speaking to me, Father?
Yes, you're a little hot under the collar, I can see, after that
I guess
encounter.
something about that man disturbed me quite a bit, and I'm not quite sure what it was. Something very strange about
Perhaps
him.
you mean just because he was a bit rude for a soldier, or that
No,
you were feeling something off of him?
something a bit more than that. His energy
Hmm.
was just unusual in some way that I can't describe,
I
and
was.
threatening.
You think that I see the better in people, but sometimes I just don't want the confrontation. I was strongly reminded of an old story that there was a an Athenian and a Spartan sitting on a bench, and along came an old man, and the Spartan immediately stood up and said, "Please take my seat." And the Athenian did nothing. And that as the old man sat down, he says, "Well, we can see who the gentleman is." And I mean, technically, that soldier has let me go off out into the wilderness while he sleeps in a bed. But I'll go check with the chapel. So I don't hear any screaming in the tavern, so I think perhaps the conflict is over.
Thank you, Father.
And I will walk. It looks like it's about a block away, so I'll just walk over to it.
Yeah, it's pretty much across the road, and then it's just beyond another slight clearing. So yeah, very, very close from where you are. That scene may take a little bit of time. So what is everyone else doing? Doing either in or around the inn?
I was going to propose to some of the others that maybe we go visit the midwife.
Sounds like a good idea.
I had
I
a
think-
thought also. I think,
Yes.
given the story that we heard about the mayor, it might be interesting to talk to the local veterinarian. And Helena, I think you might be the perfect person under the auspices of going to interview her for an article or a novel or some kind of story around the myth of the mayor.
That's ideal and convenient. I do, in fact, have such a section that I'd be very eager to flesh out. My understanding is that the veterinarian is the midwife.
That's what, yes, yeah. So
There you go.
how fortuitous that our paths run parallel.
Then let us
Exactly.
go there immediately.
Yep, I think I'd go along
right.
since nobody here is kind of fitting the bill of what I'm looking for. Not going to waste a day just staring at people. So.
I'm going to go to the residential area and see if I can secure us accommodation.
Orgs.
Residential area of.
Like number 9 on the map.
Oh, right. So back here. Oh, right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
residential, as in on the stud farm.
Oh, I
that's
see.
that's where their own staff that are in key residence, like the vet, because they're positions that would be potentially called upon at all hours of the day and night. They have permanent residence on site. So that is, in fact, where everyone else, apart from
So
the
you
barbers,
can
go.
come along with us also, Franz. Looks like that's south of here.
Group visit to the stud farm.
So the whole circle is the stud farm. I see.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's got like a little racetrack or something in it, or running there. So
Yeah, there's a kind of little paddock in there. Well, little. It's quite a big paddock.
Exercise, yeah.
Yeah, because there's about 200 horses that they keep on
Oh.
site there. So yeah,
Impressive.
there's a lot of stables that are in there.
And their primary client is the military, or do they also do private or recreational?
Yes, on most fronts there.
Okay.
They do have more than just the Royal Mounted Guard that they provide horses for. They do provide them for the wider military, but they do also cater towards private clients as well. But they are going to be clients that have got a lot of money.
Right.
Because this is, like I say, a primary, like pure breed stud farm. There's a lot of money that passes hands for those kind of animals coming out of here.
And
But
do we
especially-
detect? Sorry. Do we detect as we're walking, I presume, from the inn into the stud farm, any kind of? I guess what I'm wondering is there any hostility between the members of the workers at the stud farm who are skilled people who have come in from out of town who are servicing this high money clientele versus the presumably common people of the town who aren't particularly wealthy, like those who have been murdered? Does that make any sense as a question?
Yeah, no, I get where you're going. That'd be observation, really, to pick up
Okay.
the general vibe for that.
Sure. Let's see. Observation, empathy. Okay, so I've got 7 here. I'm really going to be tapping into my observational journalist leftist road to Wicked Pier. Okay, I got 1 6.
Oh, yeah, that's generally good enough. Right. From from what you're able to pick up, this is something that's going to probably happen over an extended period of time. So the more people that you interact with, say when you get to the guards on the gate, maybe people that you pass in the village on the way down there, and so forth, as you just mingle with more and more people, there's quite a lot of cross-pollination between the people that work on the farm and the people that work in the village. A lot of the people that work it, or the people that live in the village, work at the farm. Just they don't have positions where they are required to reside on the farm. Mainly, it's going to be your essential service personnel, like your veterinary surgeon, or maybe the manager or the head of organisation. Some of the trainers and the other personnel there that are really specialist roles, they have to reside on premises. But the rest of it, the various army of stable boys and stable hands, any of the other maybe more horse trainers rather than, or riders, riding trainers rather than horse trainers, that they will reside in the village rather than on site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they pretty much like their hand and glove. The one would not necessarily exist without the other. So there's not really any kind of feeling of resentment for the village versus the farm, because they're essentially one and the same.
Sure.
But there is a little bit of wariness towards you guys coming in because you're from outside.
Mm.
But that said, it's only an initial degree of wariness where they're looking at you going, hang on a minute, you're from outside, where instantly there's that moment of distrust. But then when you make it blatant, or when you make it obvious that only really Franz is connected with the military and he's not connected with the Royal Mounted Guard, that hostility significantly drops.
Ooh. Okay. So they don't like the Royal Mounted Guard very much, and they're afraid we're here on their behalf. But we're not. Don't worry, we're cool.
Yeah, in fact, this is something you'll pick up from the guard on the front desk, or the front gate rather, saying that we had been particularly seeing Franz's uniform. We had expected there to be an inspection, or team doing an inspection coming here very shortly, either today or tomorrow, perhaps at the latest.
That must be whom we passed at the inn. That gentleman seemed like quite a character.
He's the guard on the front gate. I'm having trouble with words tonight. On the guard on the front gate, kind of his eyes open a bit wide, and says, "Oh, you've seen them? They're here already?"
I assume that's who it was. There was a colonel and two lackeys yelling at the poor innkeeper.
Oh, no, that sounds like them. We've had to deal with some of these inspections before. We thought we weren't going to have one for at least another year or so, but
and with the horse deaths, that must be not ideal.
Well, it's only the one death, but that was enough to get them worried by the sound of it. It was poor Zolano or Zorano that passed away not all that long ago. Actually, just almost a couple of weeks ago now.
Well, in fact, we're here to speak to your veterinarian. I'm a journalist. We also have some medical experts from the university with us.
Hello.
We're here to inquire about regional veterinary and midwifery practices.
Oh, okay. Well, as the inspection hasn't started yet, I'm sure she'll be able to spare a few minutes. I'll send a runner to see if she's free.
Excellent, thank you. We only need a few of her minutes and a stroll around the grounds, perhaps.
Yeah. And you're probably waiting at the gate for a few moments, just while you wait for one of the stable hands to do a quick run to her office. And this relatively pretty young lady comes along. She is also in her mid to late 40s at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Comes walking in a leather apron, otherwise fairly nice tidy clothing underneath. Comes over to the gate and looks between the assembled group here and says, I'm Marie Eliason. I'm the veterinary surgeon here. I understand you wanted to have a meeting with myself.
Yes, yes, I am Dr. Lukanen. I was coming in. I'm on a tour. Well, tour is maybe not the best word. Uh, the university has sponsored us to go around to the various villages to speak with the midwives and all. Always looking for new techniques or maybe new techniques we can pass along to you. You know, share science and all.
Yeah, she nods. At which point, yeah, okay, I've got so I can spare some time there. Roles like mine in communities like this, you have to pretty much be all hands on deck, all over the place, all at the same time. So I imagine you probably want to have a more of a comfortable chat with folks. And she does a quick head count. Yeah, I can fit us all into my office if you want to follow me this way to the cottage.
Were all of you wanting to come along?
I'll certainly come with. Someone has to write this down.
I mean, if it's not too much of a crowd.
No,
No,
I
of
can
course.
probably fit. So one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, I can fit the six of us in there.
Oh, excellent. You're too kind.
I'll even get some coffee on because I have a feeling it's going to be a long day for me. So
Yeah, the inspectors are here, huh?
she kind of rolls her eyes and goes, "Yeah, unfortunately, we've had to deal with them before, but
Well, y- well, yeah, we have to deal with the inspectors too. We have a little joke. The two biggest lies. There's the inspectors show up, they go, "We're here to help," and then the other lie is when the inspectee goes, "We're happy to have you here."
hmm." Yeah,
Mhm.
she does chuckle to that and say, "Yeah, that tracks."
Mhm.
It's
So,
trying to get it through the mind of anyone in the military. That's the one of the biggest oxymorons I think the world has ever seen. The phrase military intelligence. Trying to get it through their skulls that Heaves is not communicable. It's a condition. It's not a disease. You can't have it pass between horses. Yeah,
mhm.
it's like I might as well just talk to a brick wall. It's
Mm. Yeah. Well, the understanding of diseases is not their specialty, although it should be. Mm.
yes.
Uh, And thank you for the coffee, though.
Hmm. Yeah, she takes you over to that area, that residential
Mhm.
area where she has this nice little cottage. There's a row of four of them, and she's got the one right at the end. And she leads you inside. It's kind of a bit low door, so you have to kind of duck as you go in. It's a very
Okay.
old building.
And
Um,
this is her residence, you
yes.
said? Okay, so when we go in, I'm going to kind of look around and see if there's any like indications of like family, like obviously would there be photographs at this time? But like anything that would have
There
like
are
Yep.
there
I had
are
this
photos.
exactly
okay.
the same thought.
Yeah, and all the photos, this doesn't require a roll, look like they've been probably taken by the same person
Hmm.
because they're all in a similar kind of style. It's someone that, looking at their style, they're very much a one-trick pony. They know how to do one thing, but they do it very, very well. It looks like they've been doing some amateur portrait shots or some portrait photos um, for quite a long period of time. Because there are indeed a number of photos which you can see mostly in the office area. So there's like a fireplace behind her desk where she's got her chair, and then along the top of the fireplace, the mantelpiece, you can see a kind of panorama of pictures where it's presumably her and her husband, because there's the man and her,
Hmm.
and then there's over the course of time there's them with a baby, and then there's them with another kind of a child, and then a more young girl or young lady, and then one of a family portrait where the girl's all grown up. So it looks like she must be in her early 20s potentially by now.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a family resemblance. In fact, the main of those are going to be black and white photos. So there's no color photos for these. But you do notice that even with the washed out color, that it looks like the daughter in the picture has the same family traits that carried down from her mother, that she has very ice cold, pale blue eyes.
Hmm.
So obviously you see those in the flesh more so than in the
Right.
photo. But there is one thing that you might be able to pick up there, though. You can give me a vigilance roll to see if you notice something physical that's otherwise in the room that's not a photo.
Okay, that's 5 dice. No.
Right, that's the main thing that you find is the photos. They are
Okay.
very much the thing that immediately grab your attention.
After I get done looking at all her photographs, make note of that. Sit down with her, and I'm a doctor, so I'll converse intelligently about having babies. I'm Keith Craig is not a doctor, so I cannot converse intelligently.
Character does charactery stuff, yes.
Yeah.
And while Dorothea is conversing intelligently with the doctor, I'll sit in the corner and take out my steno pad and, looking like I'm taking shorthand of the conversation, channel some automatic writing.
I was wondering if you were gonna do that.
Yeah, I'd like to, yeah, get more out of the interview than is literally coming through in the words.
Gotcha. Do you want to give me? I think it's observation for that. Yes.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. Yeah.
So that is 8. You get to roll so many dice in this game. Let's see. 2 successes.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Right. You kind of open yourself out or open yourself up to whatever force that guides your hand, and after a few moments, maybe they don't kind of realize you've zoned out, or maybe your eyes have started to roll back in your head. But when you regain focus and you look down at the pad, you've only written 4 letters, and in fact, it's the same, or two sets of 2. VI.
VI. Vivi.
It's
Huh.
Vivi. Yeah,
6.
6.
yeah. It's definitely not Roman numerals. It is Vivi,
Vivi.
Okay.
Vivi.
Okay.
which is an old Swedish girl's name.
Huh. Um, I might, depending on what exactly Dorothea is saying right now, choose to look up and interrupt and say, "Sorry, doctor, who is Vivi?"
Right. There's such moments as being subtle, and then there's the bull in the china shop. That this as you almost, if she had. Well, in fact, we'll say that she's actually got a coffee cup in her hand, and that she was smiling just in middle of an anecdote to Dorothea. That smile just locks in place, and she drops the coffee cup. Her corner of her mouth twitches, and she looks at you, trying to hold back what seems like maybe a growing look of sudden and real heartfelt sorrow. But what?
Oh, it just came to me suddenly to ask who Vivi was.
What? Why? Why? What?
Is the name significant to you?
She nods.
What's the significance?
She looks between you, Dorothea, and the rest of you around, and she is now getting. You can feel the kind of level of hostility start to rise.
Hmm.
Okay, who are you people? That people don't just come out and ask random questions like that. And why are you really here?
I'll look around to the other folks. I'm sure someone can say something a little more
We
reasonable.
we were asked, we were actually called by, um, oh my goodness, who was it that called us?
Ekstrom.
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 Okay, yeah, there it is. We were called by Detective Ekstrom to come and look into a couple of deaths that have happened in the past week or so here. a couple that seem to be possibly linked
You've only
to
had the one
you
death on the site.
Well, not on the site, in the
Yeah.
village.
in the village.
Couple men.
What's that got to do with me?
We were hoping you might tell us that.
Yes. It seems the men, you may have had an encounter with them in the past.
Or your
She
predecessor?
she's
Yeah.
looking genuinely dumbfounded, confused, but still kind of upset of whatever the mention of this Vivi has conjured up some kind of obviously has conjured up some kind of memory that it's upset her, but
Mhm.
she
Mhm.
is now not connecting two and two together.
Okay.
So what?
These are beautiful family photos trying to diffuse and change the
Yeah.
subject.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like whiplash.
is this uh is this your daughter and your husband?
Yeah, yes. This is. She turns around somewhat shakily, putting her hand up to the photos and kind of showing the breadth from oldest to newest. And this is my darling husband Oswald and my or our delightful daughter Carla.
Hmm. And these photographs, there's a point of view, and I'm an amateur. I'll pat my camera bag. Is who took them?
Oh, sounds like you want to get together with Werner. Uh, Werner
Verna.
Axelson, the one
Hmm.
of the probably the longest serving schoolmasters or school teachers in town.
Hmm.
He's been an amateur photographer for decades. And
Hmm.
in fact, I think he had the honor of being the first person to own a camera in the village.
Wow. It must be a true amateur. I'd be honored to make his acquaintance.
I just wander down to the schoolhouse, and you'll probably find him there. But I still don't understand what Vivi has to do with any of this.
Well, who is Vivi?
Well, she isn't anyone,
Hmm.
but poor thing never got the chance to be anyone.
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
Vivi was the name of what was going to be my first daughter.
Oh.
Oh.
But yeah, I suffered a I suffered a terrible miscarriage before. And the words trail off.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm terribly
It,
sorry.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to rush up and give her a hug.
oh yeah, she will definitely accept a hug like that. Then
Oh, you poor thing.
I mean, it took us well over a year uh, before me and my husband could even think about trying for a child of our own. I mean, I didn't even know I didn't even know who who Vivi's father was, and then obviously that it was such a I nearly even died in the miscarriage. I nearly bled to death.
Hmm.
It was only Tekla that saved me,
Mm.
and yeah, we obviously we took our time. We were careful, but then nature took its course, and I fell pregnant again. And then 9 months later, thankfully, again thanks to Tekla, thankfully, Carla came into the world uh, without any issues. But
Mhm.
I won't beat around the bush. I was terrified. I thought I could die again. I mean, we
Oh.
have a we have a small plot here on site in the on the farm because this there used to be going back a long time. There used to be a group of monks that used to run the place. So there is a small church, there is a small graveyard put aside there, and we do for some of the horses, some of the really cherished ones, we do have them cremated, and then there is a little plot where we bury them, and some others for key members of staff. And there's one
Mm.
little headstone in the corner of the plot that we put up there, and we put Vivi's name on it because that was the name we were going to give her.
Hmm.
And it's just not something that comes up in conversation, as you might well expect. So,
Yeah.
Of course not.
Very, very sorry to hear about that, Marie. You know, it's loss that no woman should have to deal with. Unfortunately, it's our lot in life at times,
mhm.
and
And
try and empathize with her a little. Hmm.
Yeah, she looks gloomily and nods in multiple levels of understanding there.
Hmm.
So,
Oh.
uh,
Hmm.
and sorry, you're not aware of the men that have died over the past week or so here?
I'd heard mutterings from from some of the stable hands, but I haven't been able to go into the village. I've been pretty much on site for the last couple of weeks, ever since Zorano died. I mean, it that took its toll as well because Carla, Zorano was pretty much they came into the world almost at the same time. You see
Hmm.
that uh, Zorano was only maybe a handful of weeks older than her. They grew up together, and as Carla grew up and eventually came to work at the farm as well, she became in charge. She was put in charge of Zorano and the other three horses in the same stable. We have a 4-to-1 ratio here that we have for every four horses. We have one stable hand look after them because we pride ourselves on the quality of quality of the conditions that we keep the horses in. And it hit her hard when Paul Zorano, even from a young age, he was always a little bit sickly. He always had problems, but it was nothing that we couldn't manage. And he developed heaves, and obviously his condition started to deteriorate over time. Despite everything that we could do, it was only going to be a matter of time before eventually he would pass. And he contracted pneumonia earlier this month, and he passed away on the 6th. And poor Carla was heartbroken. I mean, she's been spending a lot of her time at the little site where we had Zorano cremated and the ashes were interred there.
Hmm.
I mean, pretty much every lunchtime she'll go there and will sit and eat a lunch by them. She's even sleeping in the stalls of the other horses now because and this is what's prompted the inspection is words got back to the pig-headed military that the other three horses that were residing in close proximity to Zorano are now showing signs of similar respiratory problems. They're waking in the morning, covered in sweat, foaming from the nostrils, looking like they've been ridden all night. And I'm not too sure what it is because, like I said, Heaves is not communicable, so it's not that. But whatever it is, we need to identify and isolate what it is. So we're constantly churning out the previous hay material in there. We're putting silver grass down. We're sweeping the place out. So we're making sure it's as dust free as possible, getting the airflow through there, giving the three horses the remaining time that they can out in the paddocks, trying to get their exposure to open airflow. We're doing everything we physically can, and yet still this. It's almost like a cycle. One will wake up like it's been ridden one morning, and then another will wake up like it's been ridden the next morning, and then yeah, it's just going round and round in circles.
Would
You
you
know, that
mind if
reminds me.
Oh, I was going to say, would you mind if I look? Maybe fresh eyes might be able to spot something that you haven't. Not to cut in on your territory, but I mean,
I don't see what harm it can do, to be honest. But
And
yeah,
someone's here at night and sure these horses aren't going out, right? I mean,
well, yeah, that's what I say.
yeah.
Carla's going and she's sleeping in Zorano's stall, so that she's right next to these other horses to make sure that nothing happens. And if they do show signs of disturbance in the night, then she's on hand there to immediately do something. But she's sleeping through, and they're not showing any immediate signs of what's going on, and it's she
Hmm.
just breathes out heavily, and there's a look of resignation and defeat on her face.
Well,
You know, your story reminds me of that old folk myth, the Mara. What do you think of that?
She looks a little bit confused. I I'm not. I'm much more of a person of science than a person of stories. I mean, Tekla would have been the one that you would have needed to ask about that. A
Oh,
Mara sounds like some kind of giant snake.
oh yes, just folklore nonsense, I'm sure, but a peculiar similarity to your story. Something about a corrupted spirit of some sort that rides horses all night and they come back lathered up looking exhausted in the morning.
The only corrupted spirit that I can think of, aside from the aquavit that Stefan will kind of happily sell you down at the Silver Spur, would be someone that's accidentally left some wood chipping in the mash of their
mm,
moonshine and give you ethanol
mm.
poisoning. That's the only type of say corrupted spirit that I can think of.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
huh. Uh, this might seem fortuitous or, but the inspectors are causing a problem for you, and they've caused a problem for us. They stole our rooms at the inn, and if someone's needed to maybe help your daughter stay in the stables to watch the horses for the night, I we'd have a place to stay outside of the weather, and would that be something you'd be okay with?
If you're needing some kind of residence, I'm sure we can come up with something.
Well, I mean, we could. Yeah, I think that would be good. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'll take you to have a look at the stables, the
Thank you.
stalls now. It's only
Mm.
a short walk from here. And as you head out towards back out towards the front door, this is the point where Dorothea's eyes, and probably everyone else now that the name's been now the name's been said aloud, notice that the door immediately opposite to the office that you went into. Basically, you have the front door, and then it's a corridor that goes down to like the kitchen at the back and the stairs up to the upstairs, and then you've got doors to the left and right. She led you into the open door on the right, which goes into her office, which is like a converted living room. But the door that was on the left-hand side had a lovely little name plaque written that would been then screwed to the barrier, the bar of the door, level with the door handle that just had the name Vivi
Vivid.
on it, which is what your vigilance roll would have given you.
Hmm.
But
Mm.
but anyway, it came to you via other methods. But anyway, as you head out through the front door and head towards the stables, we'll cut to the church because there's some interesting stuff happening there about this time. So you head to this little chapel, Father Victor, and it's again a very modest affair, like most of the things in this village. It's a single-story building. It's got a little kind of steeple at the front where you imagine there's the bell kind of bell tower, but in this case more of like a little short steeple with a very modest bell. That in fact, as you go through the front into the little antechamber before you go into the main body of the church, you do find there is a little alcove where you can see the rope that you would pull to do the ringing from there. The doors are open though, and you can see then into the body of the church. There's a row of about 5 or 6 pews, and then a slightly raised area at the back where there's then a pulpit, and again looks very functional rather than very ostentatious. I mean, it's the Lutheran Church is the Church of Sweden as you've known for a very long time, and from exploits in previous scenarios. This is all completely in keeping. There's nothing that's ringing alarm bells to. It's not like there's a upside down cross on the far wall or anything garish like that. But there is a door that you notice right at the far end of the main body of the church that you presume would go out to maybe like the vestry or some private areas of the priests back there. And just as you're coming in, that door is closing as a lady that's probably comparable age to yourself is coming out, also dressed in priestly attire. Has that kind of nod of look of recognition of, oh, fellow priest, and starts coming over towards you with a smile and extending her hand. Did you want to use your well-travelled to see if you know the priest in question here, or?
Sure. Let's see. Where is that?
It's where you can make a roll to see if you can that you know a person in town. It doesn't have to be them, so it can be someone else if you had someone else in mind that you wanted to know.
Okay. So what would I roll then? Let's see.
I think it's observation from memory, but I mean
observation. That's plus empathy. That's 9 dice.
Yeah, well traveled. It's not the vagabond, isn't it? Yeah, well traveled. Manipulation. That's it. So once per mystery, you can make a manipulation test to create an NPC who is situated in the area that you have met before.
Okay, so that's less dice, but I got 3 6s. So
you definitely know that. It can be this. It can be the priest here, or it can be someone else entirely. So, who would you like to know in the village?
We'll say the priest. Makes sense.
Okay. In which case, yeah, this is definitely the face you remember. This is. He says, skipping through his notes. I can't remember what the female equivalent would be, but it'd be Reverend, or the equivalent, Martina Berggren, who you know has been the Reverend here for a number of decades. She has a very small congregation. It seems like it's dwindling every year as more people start to either move away from the village and go into the larger towns, or they just turn their hearts away from God and embrace money more so than the love of the church. Unfortunately, a typical story that you have seen in many, many places beforehand. But yeah,
Reverend Bergram, how wonderful!
It's been Victor Nystrom, isn't it? It's been a long, long time since
quite a long time. Yes.
What brings you out to this little corner of the world?
Well, I'm traveling with a number of companions. In our spare time, I suppose you might say, we've developed ourselves a bit of a crime-solving group. I'm not much of a member. I just assist them, but they've been investigating a number of small crimes, murders, and I'm just along for to give them advice on certain things. Your church is lovely, and I'm sure at some point we'll share all of the little stuff that we've been up to.
She's very much woe-betide this poor shrinking congregation. I do feel like my twilight years are spent almost watching a sinking ship in slow motion, but not much I can do.
The secular world seems to be slowly encroaching upon the spiritual one, and I'm hoping that things revive. Perhaps in the future. Sometimes I think that when things are too easy, people lose interest. They forget to thank God for the things that they have. And sometimes he reminds them, and they rekindle their faith. I'm very surprised. I didn't actually realize that you were the pastor here. I have a small favor to ask. If we can find a way to make it appropriate. I had a room at the inn, but there are a number of soldiers there, and I gave them my room because they had been They said that they had rooms there for had booked a month ago,
Mhm.
and so I gave them up so that they could have them. Is there perhaps a room where I might stay? Uh,
She looks a little bit kind of does a little bit of a double take in surprise. It must be something in the air. Only a couple of hours ago, I had someone pretty much come, not with the same kind of story, but the same request. I've just
oh,
finished setting up a bed for him out in the back.
oh, uh, is there room for another?
I think he would definitely appreciate the company. The poor guy's terrified. So
Oh,
he came in here this morning, uh, not screaming, but definitely crying for sanctuary and calling for help. That I've literally just kind of calmed him down, got some coffee in him, and just set up a cot bed for him out back. There's plenty of room out in the vestry. I could fit probably another three or four beds in there.
okay. Um, well, I don't know if my friends were able to secure other lodgings, but I'll bring that up if possible. Um, I would be deeply appreciative, yes, if you could do this, and perhaps we'll have time to catch up. What
Hmm.
are your orders of services? And of course, I can assist in anything that you wish.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'd very much doubt Mr. Magnuson would complain about having another member of the cloth staying with him, especially in the state he's in. It might actually provide him with some comfort. She kind of does a quick double take, and then, even though it's only the two of you which are in the room, she kind of comes a little bit closer and just almost stage whispers to you, You don't snore, do you? You won't keep him awake."
Oh, I don't believe so. Nobody's ever told me that I snored.
Ah, that's good.
But then again, I'm not used to sleeping in rooms with other people in them, so
I don't know. Sometimes I've woken myself up a couple of times if I get too exhausted. But anyway, yes,
can I
I'm
come with you?
coming.
Can I meet him?
Yeah,
Since
I'll introduce you to Mr. Magnuson, and then I'll help get the second cot bed set up for you, and then yeah, hopefully it might help him, might even bring him some say comfort in his hour of need.
I am very glad to have met you here. Uh, we have a lot to talk about later, just catching up and sipping coffee and tea or whatever. Wonderful.
Always coffee here, always coffee.
I'm also quite a good cook. If
Oh, oh,
I've
that'd be
learned
good.
over the years to both cook and clean, if you need anything.
Real Renaissance man. I dabble. I pretty much do the basics, but I've never had too much of a varied palate to be worried about doing anything adventurous in the culinary arts. But, but anyway, let me bring you through. And
Oh,
she
very
goes
good.
back over to that back corner and opens the door up and leads you into the vestry. The room runs the width of the building, but it's only probably about 5 meters at most across. So it's quite a large room. It's got a big rectangle. There's against one wall, you've got, in fact, the aforementioned stove, which is keeping this room warm. There is a little skillet on top where evidently you can make some food on top of that. There's then a little curtained off area towards one corner, which is like a changing area. So if she ever wanted to get out of her robes or change between different vestments, there's a desk set up in here as well where she takes care of lots of got the admin side of the church. All the stuff in here looks like the kind of stuff you'd be familiar with. But the thing that definitely separates it from your old church is that she has got a fair amount of room in here, more room than she needs. There's a set of bookcases where there's a number of books on theology and history and such that are here as well. But you can easily fit a whole row of beds in here if you were to turn it into a communal bedroom. You could easily fit like 7 or 8 beds in this thing. And off in one corner, there is a bed that has been set up. And then sat on a wooden chair next to it is a guy that looks like he has been but it looks almost like he's been up all night. He's got red bloodshot eyes. He's either shivering or shaking as he's holding a painted mug full of steaming coffee, painted tin, enameled cup that he's cradling with both hands. And he looks up at you again. Looks like he's in his maybe mid-late 40s. Looks up at you with his two bloodshot eyes quivering, and the priest comes over to him and says, "Oh, Mister Magnuson, seems like the Lord has sent some assistance. This is a fellow member of the church who happened to be passing through, and is also seeking a room to stay for the night. I was wondering if we could allow him to share with yourself. It would be some extra protection for yourself. If hopefully we'll be able to go and bring you some peace." And he
Good evening, sir.
looks up at you. And he puts one hand firmly around the enameled mug, and then the other hand he shakes your hand with, sweaty, shaky, quivering. He is in a pretty bad state. But yeah, he does the best to kind of raise a smile. Thank you. Yes, I'd very, very, very much like some company tonight, or today and tonight. Yes, this would be very, very nice. Thank you so much.
Shall I take this cut here?
Oh no,
No.
don't worry about it. I'll get you a fresh one made up. So
Well, perhaps I shall visit with Mr. Magnuson for a few moments. Then I must return to my friends.
yeah, he stares down, looking into his coffee mug. Steam coming up and pretty much hitting him in the face. He's blinking as if he's trying to keep himself awake.
If Martina goes to get something, I'll say, Mr. Magnuson, I do believe that I am sent here by God to assist you in whatever is troubling you. And I think that I know what it might be in relation to.
He looks and blinks at you. What, you know how to make dreams go away?
You're having very bad dreams, yes?
Very, very bad. Yes.
If you can keep it to yourself. My friends and I are actually traveling here because we suspect that an evil spirit is in fact haunting certain gentlemen, yourself included. And it may be, and I look to make sure she's not coming back yet.
Yeah, she's not in yet.
It may in fact be, sir, and I'll look into his eyes very sincerely, because of an event that took place a number of years ago with a certain woman, one in which she was assaulted by multiple gentlemen such as yourself.
He gulps and goes very pale, but otherwise doesn't say anything.
I'm here to tell you that two of these gentlemen are no longer with us. And their deaths were preceded by bad dreams. Now, we will do what we can, but I am a priest. If you want to confess your sins, it's probably a good idea.
If you're going to try and convince him to confess,
Mhm.
at the moment he is doing his best, even though he is terrified. He is doing his best to maintain a veil of silence because, hey, that means
Sure.
there's no evidence. Give me a manipulation roll to see if you can get him to open up.
Relation to 6. 2 6s.
Okay. In which case, then it doesn't take that much to find that kind of that crack in a chink in his armor and pry it open.
And what you say to me is in confidence. I'm bound
you,
not to tell anyone.
you promise you won't say anything,
I can't. The church won't allow it, so I won't.
even if it was. Well, I know that I know Stefan would argue that it wasn't a crime. That it wasn't a crime because, well, it wasn't as if she didn't say no. So as far as as far as we were concerned, it was consent. You have to understand that, yes?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Well, I know that two of my friends have died recently, Fred and Victor. That I I didn't know that this is what was happening to them. I thought Fred had exaggerated the fact he's saying he'd had bad dreams for a few days, and of course he just dropped down dead. I didn't think it was anything connected with this, and he just holds his head in his hands at this point. Look,
I comfort him. I put my hand on his shoulder. It's all right. God forgives any sin, but you must be willing to make restitution for what you've done.
we were just kids, damn it, just kids. We all went to the same schoolhouse. We all grew up. We all knew Marie. We all thought she was the most beautiful thing alive. And then we were all heartbroken when she left. She ran off to Lund to go and study at the university, and we were overjoyed when she came back. That she's waltzed back into our lives, and it was like it was a miracle. So we took her out for drinks over at the Silver Spur. Stefan was it was still his parents running the place at that point. They hadn't passed on yet, but we got her very, very drunk. I mean, she connected with a lot of people that night. Uh, we she must have reconnected with a dozen or more people that had still remained in the village while she'd gone off to London, come back again 4 years later. That we were just the five that were left of us at the end in the bar or in the inn, and one thing led to another, and I can't remember who initiated it first, but we all had. I thought at the time it was just a fun time that we all got. She took it in turns with us. We took it in turns with her, and then we could propped her up in the edge of the bar, and eventually rouse her enough to get her back to her home. In the middle of the night, no one saw us. Then, and we thought it was just the drink that did it. It was nothing. There was no ill intention or no deliberate violation that happened. It was just booze and just some rowdy young men and a beautiful girl. And then, yeah, she started showing, and that when word came round to us in the village that she didn't know who the father was and she didn't even recall anything from that night, that we thought we'd dodged a bullet in a way. Even more so when she lost the kid.
Magnuson, what's your first name?
Ulf.
Ulf. So Fred and Victor have passed. Where is Stefan?
Oh, he runs the inn now. His parents passed away a few years back, so he inherited the place.
The man who's running the inn. Say, yeah, that. Well, Your contrition shows that you're willing to, you're very sorry for what you did. Of course, you were just children. Um, Let me give the prayer of absolution, uh, and consider your confession heard. May God forgive you for your sins. And my friends and I will do our best to see if we can stop this nightmare from visiting you anymore. But there is some unresolved issue, and we need to know what it is. Is there anything else about this that you feel guilt for?
Well, only that we never told her. I mean, we didn't even know. I mean, it could have been any one of us could have been the father. There was no way of telling.
Hmm.
And but I know I didn't step forward and offer any kind of any means to help out with her when she had a, from what I understand, she had a really bad miscarriage. But
I see.
I know Stefan was very much a case of, well, that just even more we dodged the bullet by an even wider margin. Victor was really kind of beaten up by it a bit. I think he'd made hints that he was going to try and put stuff right at some point down the line, but I don't know if he ever did. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what he was planning on doing, if he was doing anything. But I could have done something, but just my own shame, I just wanted to let the past rest. I didn't want to drag anything back up again. And like
Well,
I said, it was just four or five kids, what we thought were having a good time.
I think that a proper penance for this, if you're truly sorry for what you did, you should go say something to Maria. Maria, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marie. Mhm.
Marie, um, apologize for those days and ask her forgiveness. Doesn't matter if she gives it to you or not, but show contrition and remember that God sees everything and that He loves you and that all He wants for you is to overcome your sins. There is no sin that He cannot forgive. So, and you obviously came here and sought refuge in the church. Let's hope everything works out. Thank you for telling me, and I won't bring it up to anyone.
Sure. You can see that he definitely looks a little nervous still. Before before the Reverend comes back in, you'll say, I'm going to have to try and build up the courage to go and see her. But if
Yes.
anything to get rid of these nightmares and to put things right, hopefully if that alleviates this. I just
We'll talk again later tonight after I get back. I have to go to visit my friends. Mother Martina, um, uh, I will be back.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be here all day, and I'm sure Mr. Magnuson will be here as well. I don't imagine he's going to be going very much away from the bed. I just hope he manages to get some restful sleep at some point tonight, some point during the day.
So I'm going to leave the chapel, and I'm foolishly heading right back over to the inn because I don't know that everybody went to,
That's right.
to the
But
stud farm.
the innkeeper can point you in the direction of. I think they all were wandering over towards the stud farm. In fact, the bartender will be able to say that because she gave the directions for where to go, so you can follow back in their footsteps and meet up at the stud farm.
So I'm heading in that direction.
Gotcha. So a little bit ahead of you then. The rest of you, the rest of you five plus one for Marie, wander towards the stable blocks, and this is a large square building with a courtyard in the middle of it. It has access on all sides that then go out to various walkways that go off to different paddocks, and then the racetrack they've got there as well. And she leads you over to one particular booth or one particular batch where there are 4 stalls, and the stalls have names carved onto the top of them. So you have. He says trying to find his names and also then worry about how to pronounce them as well. uh,
While we're walking outside, do we catch a glimpse of the graveyard? I'd surely like to visit that before we leave the stud farm today.
yeah, you'd be able to see where it is. I mean, there's definitely the stone tower there is quite prominent. So yeah, you'd definitely be able to catch sight of there.
Cool.
Here we go. The 4 names are on the different stalls: Denon, Kelty, Hardema, and Zorano.
Okay. Is the daughter here?
Yep, she is. Again, the wonderfully blue, ice cold eyes are the giveaway. But also, you've seen a photo, so you know what to look like. You reckon she's in her early to mid 20s, or definitely no more than 25.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's dressed as one of the uniformed stable girls. She is currently sweeping out the stalls and replacing what would have been traditionally hay, but is being laid down with silvergrass, which is a normal traditional replacement for straw and hay. Because obviously it's the mold that congregates on the straw and hay that's what promotes and causes heaves. So they replace it with silvergrass as being a kind of alternative that doesn't carry the same molds. And she is doing everything that you would think would be perfectly enough a good and very, very attentive and very caring cleaning up of the different stalls. But yeah, these 3 horses that are here. I mean, obviously Zorano's stall is empty. But the 3 horses that are here look a little bit worse for wear. Particularly Hardy Emma is definitely looking like she's had a bit of a workout already. And her coat is there's a sheen all over her as if she's just come back from a full gallop. She's been brushed down. There's knots in her mane, sort of mare locks, I think they're called. And yeah, she's just generally looking a little bit raggedy.
Would you mind terribly if I created some markings on the inside of the stalls? I'm just a superstitious sort, and I.
Who are you asking?
Who's in charge here?
Well,
is it Marie or is it the stable person?
Well, Carla would be the immediate person in command, because she's the one that is charged with looking after these particular horses. But then in the overall ranking of, if there was a kind of military chain of command here, Marie would be the more senior member of staff.
Marie is the person I'd be asking.
Okay. She blinks and looks a little bit. Again, I'm a woman of science and medicine. This is all sounding a little bit. Oh
yes, of course.
To me,
I know. Yes, it's silly, but well, humor me. That's all.
Treat it as an experiment.
It can do no harm. I can assure you that.
What kind of marks are you planning on making?
It's a ward against evil spirits. Just a simple pattern.
Oh, you sound worried, especially if that inspection team come down here and then find something like that. They're going to throw a fit if they see something like that. Surely.
Will the fit be worse if they see that, or if the horses die?
She is evidently torn. Do you want to give me a manipulation roll? See if you can convince her.
I would love to. Let's see. What do I got? Manipulation 1 plus 3. I got 4 dice.
Ooh.
I got 1 6.
No, one's good. So yeah, she's particularly on that last line about, well, which would you rather have, them alive or dead? That she goes, oh, okay. Is it something fairly discreet that we can maybe cover over or hide potentially when they come round?
Oh, sure, of course.
Right, and which was she goes over to her daughter, say Carla, and says, "Right, these fine fellows here are here to help. This lady here is going to come in and do some just put some marks on the door. Uh, just yeah, just make sure it's out of sight and that no one sees it. And if we can get some sacks to cover it over with, or
I'll tell
something,
you
just
what.
make it."
I'll put the markings on the inside of the stall doors, and that way no one will see them.
There we go. Yeah. At which point, yeah, Carla just says, "Okay, I'll get out of your way, then, miss." And yeah, she stands back and she looks towards the rest of you in that kind of, "Hey, hello, you're new people here" kind of look.
Yeah. Carla, it's I'm Dr. Lukanen. I understand that you've been spending nights out here in the stables with the horses.
Yes, yeah, for the last few nights now, must be coming up to one, two, 10 nights so far. I think I've been
10
spending out here.
nights. Wow. That's when Zorano unfortunately passed.
No, a little bit before that.
Okay.
No, my poor boy, he passed away on the 6th of this month, so it was a last Monday,
Mm.
and we noticed pretty much immediately after that, though, that the others here, Denon first, then Kelty, and then Hardy Emma here, that they were all coming down with something. So
Mm.
I've been staying out here in Zorano's stall in a kind of makeshift bed to be on hand if anything happened to them, and to be here if they need me. So
Have
I mean,
they been falling asleep before you do?
yeah, I mean we make sure we get them to bed and kind of go tuck them in, as it were, fairly early, and then
Mhm.
I stay up fairly late just to make sure that while they're sleeping, if they're showing any immediate signs of any problems. But by the time I turn in about midnight, I've not seen anything.
Ah, and don't hear anything, of course, either if they're getting out.
No,
Door's not.
they can't get out. Not while
Hmm.
I'm here.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm going to. Which one was the worst this morning?
She goes over
Or.
to Hardy Emma,
Hmm.
points into her stall, and says, "Yeah, this is Hardy Emma here, one of our younger ones.
Hmm.
Let's say younger. She's been here for about 10 years now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Hmm.
So Kelty here's female as well, and then Denon, the male of the quartet, or what used to be quartet.
Sorry. I'm going to just kind of checking out, given not a thorough examination, just kind of a looks over, look at their feet, look at their hoofs. I'm kind of mainly looking, hey, is there signs that, they were ridden rough, maybe the horseshoe is, chipped up and everything.
If you want to have a good examination there, yeah, give me a vigilance roll.
Vigilance, always. Okay,
Or
that is,
vigilance or investigation, either of those work.
I will go with investigation. 6 dice.
Hmm.
Nope, don't say anything.
Okay. You have the option. You can push if you want, so you can take a condition and then re-roll the dice.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
It'll be a mental
Uh,
condition because it's a mental skill.
yeah, maybe if I can't find anything, I'll feel kind of hopeless that, hey, maybe I'm on a going down the wrong hole. Must be going down the wrong hole here.
Ah.
Ah.
And in that moment of despair and hopelessness, as you're looking around at each foot going one in turn, you're as is maybe it's just you don't have enough
Yeah.
background with animals. You don't really know what you're looking for,
Yeah,
and it's
should've-
about that time that Father Victor, having gone down to the stud farm and has been pointed in the direction of the stables, can wander in and see a whole bunch of familiar faces here.
Hello.
Welcome back, Father.
Father.
I'll walk over to, is it Marie who's standing there?
Yes. Well, Marie,
say,
Carla, and these. Yeah.
Say, Father Victor Nystrom, I'm friends with these gentlemen here and ladies. And I'll shake all of their hands.
Oh, good. Pleasure to meet you.
I don't mean to interrupt. Ladies, gentlemen, if you didn't secure rooms, the chapel has a large enough room that we can set up a few more beds there.
Perfect. We came up
But-
empty here.
But you'll have to be quiet in the evenings because a gentleman who's already staying there has been having a great deal of difficulty sleeping.
Oh.
But please go back to your conversation.
Um,
They
I'm
know
gonna
that
go-
I know that they know that.
Right.
I know that.
The purloin letter.
I'm going to go to each of the stalls, and I'm going to use the chalk that I took that I got in town before I left, and I will put a hexagon, one of those inverted
6-point star. Yeah.
hexagram on the inside of each stall door.
Yep, not a problem. You can definitely do that fairly discreetly enough so that they can also be covered. And as I say, on the inside, not a problem.
I think
I'm not worried about them being covered or not. That's their problem.
I think I'm tagging along with Valentina just under the guise of helping, but more to take a look at each of these stalls and, if possible, get into the stall that Zerato was in, that she's sleeping in now, because I really want to check it out, unless she balks at that. It stops me.
No, they both of them seem fairly open. They're not making any efforts to hold you back and stop you going in any particular area. So no, they're more than happy for you to go in and have a wander around.
Yeah, I'm just kind of checking everything, see if there's just anything sticking out that catches my eyes as off or strange.
Right, let me double check quickly on the roll needed here. There we go. Right, do you want to give me an investigation roll?
Okay. So that is 8d6 total, which will be my investigation and logic. And out of that is 1 success.
Ooh. Do you want to push it so you can roll the other dice that did not get a 6? Because for your sixth sense talent to kick off, you need at least 2 successes.
Yep, I think I will. So I'll roll the others that were not successes.
Mhm.
And they stayed as not successes.
Okay. Right, well, on the mundane level, because it would be if you got additional success on top of the one that you need, you would then be able to detect if there was a Vaesen at work here.
Yeah.
On a purely mundane level, what she has told you seems to fit pretty much with the evidence you're finding. She's got this little mattress that she's set up in the corner of the stall. The place is impeccably cleaned, so it's not like she's been sleeping in her own filth. She's been sat there. There's a small thermos which she's got over to one side as well, a pillow, and it's showing signs that she has obviously been slept there, but it's not been very disturbed. Almost as if she was laid there for a little while, and that she's only really been asleep for a matter of minutes, seeming like not like she's been there the whole night. But that could mean that she's just a very light sleeper and that she doesn't move around that much. But yeah, there's the normal, the kind of boring, mundane level of what you're seeing here that is corroborated by what she has told you, that she has been sleeping here within an earshot or arm's reach of the other horses, and is, if anything would have happened in the stalls, she would have heard it. She would have been woken up, and that she would have been able to be immediately on site to be able to assist them if anything had happened to them.
Okay.
You certainly can't see yourself if you were to have laid down here and fallen asleep. If there was any disturbance in the other stalls, you would have been woken up by them.
Okay. So mechanically, because I do I suffer anything for pushing that and not getting extra successes?
You get one condition.
One condition. I'm going to take angry.
Okay.
Because whether I have or
reasonable.
not, I feel like I've missed something,
Mhm.
and I just can't put it together. So whether that's true or not, I'm a little bit pissed off because I feel like there's got to be something I'm missing here.
But yeah, as you're looking around the stalls and realizing that there's no way that she could have slept all the way through this in case if there was any noise from the other stalls around her, you hear the sound of marching feet clunking over cobblestones outside, and in fact, maybe the father, because he's the last to have come in, can see the bright flash of blue and gold uniforms approaching, and again the very officious look of the colonel coming across to this to your particular stable block, again looking none too plussed in that very officious and very hostile demeanor that you've seen him wearing before. And that's where we'll leave it for tonight. Ready for next time, getting in again, nice little starting as we finished, a nice little confrontation with the military.
Our players included Max Meltzer, Kent Blue, Preston Firestone, Keith Craig, Stefan Amshi, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as the keeper of arcane lore. No, you're not. This is
Normally I am.
This is Vaesen. Let me do that again. Our players included Max Meltzer, Kent Blue, Preston Firestone, Keith Craig, Stefan Amshi, and myself, with Matthew Sanderson as the game master. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members. You can set up private games. You can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show has been provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of Scandinavian mythology and the Vaesen role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.